My name is Dave Crane. For many years, the biggest fear of most people was to stand up in front of a live audience, speak, communicate, and motivate, and get people to like your brand, your services, and your products. Most people got it wrong, but those who did get it right were seen as leaders. And then the lockdown happened, and now everyone's communicating through different platforms and webinars. And the problem is, if they didn't learn to communicate effectively before, they're even worse now. And they lose audiences who just switch off. And then we went digital, and the possibilities are endless. As a speaker, you can reach any amount of thousands of people, and you can share your message, you can motivate them, and you can change lives. As an event organizer, the possibilities are endless as to how big you can make an event. You don't have to worry about logistics, you don't have to worry about language. You can create something that people can watch in their own time and attend in real time at the same time. As a corporate decision maker and as the owner of a business, you can create your message, you can create a niche, you can get the people from your industry to work with you and make your tribe defined very simply just by putting it online. And what kind of events can you create? You can have a web TV show that dominates your industry and sends your message and your brand across the globe. You can invite in the very best of the industry as your special guests every single day. You can sell through Zoom calls and look after your team the same way. You can also have webinars that unite everybody and tell them about your latest product launches. You can also step into a digital world. Imagine that you could be a digital version of yourself, speaking at a virtual conference. Virtual conferences will change the game. Not only can you speak in a big auditorium where people from their laptops are all present in front of you, but you can also have spin-off rooms, meeting rooms. You can display the latest products. I can also have boardroom meetings at the same event. You could do them in real time, but also leave all the content available for people to comment on or review at a later date. And the cost is a fraction. You can go global from your laptop. These are the possibilities that are for you, whether you're a speaker, an event organizer, a small business, or a big decision maker. You need to think about the new version of you and how that will impact your brand and take your opportunities to a brand new level. The possibilities are endless now that we're completely digital. You can be online and offline, on stage and off stage, and your speaking ability will drive your message, drive your brand, and change the world. It's time for you to now learn to speak on stage. Hi, welcome back. I'm Dave Crane. Nice to see you. Welcome to Speak on Stage, a show all about teaching you to be a very effective public speaker. I broadcast every single day and I share with you tons of tips and ideas for branding yourself, for marketing, for becoming an effective communicator and speaker. And it's not just about being able to do it on stages around the world. Stages around the world are going to be a little bit longer before they all come back to play. Until then, you've got to consider about how you would reach your audience. Now, being a speaker will circumvent most of the challenges of marketing and being noticed by people because you get interviewed. You get to speak on a platform of some description, whether it's online and offline, on stage or off stage, where people recognize you and go, I've seen you before, where do I know you? But nowadays, because everyone's connected, They can find out who you are, Google you, find out whether you've got an impressive resume on LinkedIn or any of your social media, and then we can decide whether to do business with you. But also remember, not everyone wants to do business with you. Sometimes what people do is they just talk to others about how impressed they were with you. And that's a build-up. It takes something like 9 times before somebody will consider buying from you. You've got to hit that message 9 times. I heard from somebody else it's 27 times, but it doesn't matter. When you're doing social media and you're out there and you're being effective, people will find you and they will clock up the mentions and the connections until eventually they go, you know what, I want to contact you, I want to work with you. As a direct result of me doing this show, I'm inundated with people who want to do the Industry Icon program. Seriously, why is that? Because I talk about it every day. I've created a brand that works for people. I don't just talk about that. I talk about the stuff that's in the show. And have we got a show for you? Yes, Dave, we have. Thank you for asking. Thank you for answering. All right, so today is about how to have a 100% kick-ass positive mindset. And superheroes tend to have that. That's why I put it on. Plus also because I'm geeky, I try and put superheroes on absolutely everything. And there you go, there's my T'Challa, Black Panther, and there's a little bit of Wakanda standing on there, just there. Or is it vibranium? I don't know. And that's probably the geekiest thing I'll say today, but it's pretty geeky, so thank you very much. Make sure you got your coffee as well, if you got that. It's good, I'm very patriotic today. I've got my special Union Jack cup. Sorry, Union Flag cup, mug. And it's made of China, so it's a Chinese Union Flag. Work that out for yourself. Right, so we could talk about Brexit, we could talk about a lot of things to do with Union Flag. Today, a lot of it is about your branding, but it's all about the internal mindset. It's about your intrinsic motivation, as opposed to extrinsic. So extrinsic is the things around you that really motivate you. So, I want to get money, I want to fall in love with that person, they come love me. Or I want to get to the top of the food chain in my industry. Or I want to be recognized by all my peers as being fantastic. Or I want to get on TV. Those are things that are outside of you that would give you accreditation and would give you a feeling that somehow you've become worthwhile. Well, that's useful, but it's not as strong as intrinsic. Intrinsic is what goes on inside you, inside your mind, inside your brain. And that's what we're going to be talking about today as well. It's all about how your mindset starts first. Think about it in terms of fear of public speaking. When people won't talk on stage, it's generally because they're scared of what people will think of them. But when you couldn't care less what people think of you, you just go out and you say stuff. I go out on stages, I go out in front of stages in front of like 40,000 people sometimes, and I don't even have a plan. I just go out there and start talking. Now, okay, I've been around for a very long time, so I pretty much know what kind of thing I'm going to say. But there's always a chance that you could dry up, you could freeze, you could get things wrong, you could mispronounce names, you could make an accident, the microphone won't work, you'll trip. There's a ton of things that could happen like that. And I know as I'm saying it, you're probably going, Dave, you've just made it even harder for me. Yeah, but here's the question. So what? So what if it all goes wrong? So what if people don't like you? So what if you trip over? So what if you drop your microphone or you drop your papers all over the place and you can't talk? I've done it on live TV. I've actually been on a live TV show where I can't even tell you this story. I know you want me to tell you this story. I can't. I'll tell you when we're talking privately. But it was imagine hosting an event. You're going on live and you've got an audience of VIPs and it's a big awards ceremony that would tell you is going to be in English and Arabic. And I only speak English. I don't understand Arabic. A handful of words. I've been here 20 years, but I mean, I love Arabic, but I don't speak it. So imagine then going live without rehearsal to broadcasting across the entire world on satellite for a big awards ceremony, and your partner comes on stage the first time you see them as you broadcast, and they only speak in Arabic. And the notes that you've got, you realize you've only got a handful of notes. Why? Because her notes are copious. Now that might seem like, oh, that's not too difficult. Dave, you just need to speak when it's your turn to speak in English. Yeah, but here's the question for you. How do you know when it's your turn? How do you know when it's your turn? And you got an earpiece in where they're speaking and shouting in Arabic to the other presenter. And then they start shouting over you and you start speaking. Live in front of an audience in front of you, and then live in front of the world. So would that worry you? Yes, it worried me. Could I do anything about it? No. Well, here's the thing. What would you do about it? In that situation, there's a question for you. What would you do? Would you walk off the stage? Would you apologize to everybody? Or you just make the most of it and carry on and think, you know what, 3 hours later, it is what it is. what would you do? 1, 2, or 3? I might remember to tell you at the end. If I don't tell you at the end, then remind me tomorrow, because I want to leave that dilemma. What would you do if you were in that situation? So with those kind of challenges, it all comes down to what's going on inside you here with your heart, what's going inside you here with your head, and also with your gut. 3 brains that we have. I'll talk about that in more depth when we talk about emotional impact. But you got 3 brains. The natural brain everyone talks about, which is the one up here that thinks about everything. You got your heart, which helps you decide really critical decisions. And then you got your gut. And it sounds ridiculous, but when you actually look at it, they're all joined. They all have neural pathways between them. But there's actually more in your gut, especially in my gut. You've been in lockdown as long as I have. It's true. That's the panther. There you go. That's T'Challa. You see him? There. Wonderful. And this is all about making you money, by the way. And when I talk about gut, there's a reason. That's my maracas, made of M for maracas and maracas. So what we're talking about, your fear of looking silly on stage in front of lots of people is the same as your fear of public speaking. But if you don't care what people think, you know that you're just going to take it in your stride. It's not going to kill you. Promise you. Nobody's died from stage fright. If they have, it's new to me, and I've been on stage for the best part of 50 years. So if it's not going to kill you, it's just going to embarrass you a little bit. And so what? We've all had embarrassing things, sometimes in public. Maybe you've been out partying, maybe you had too much to drink, maybe you've gone to places you shouldn't have gone or worn clothes you shouldn't have worn. Maybe you had a dramatic situation with a partner where they had a big fat fight with you in front of everybody. All these and more could be challenges for you. So it's all about getting your mindset so you're ready to move on regardless. Once you've got that done and you're happy in your own skin, and most people aren't. Most people end up not being able to look at themselves in the mirror when something's gone wrong. I laugh all the time. When I mess up, I don't care. And people tell me about it. Trust me, I'm married. My gorgeous wife will say, "Did you just do that?" And I'll go, "Yeah." And she'll say, "Do you feel stupid?" And I'll go, "A little bit." And we'll laugh at it and we'll move on. My daughter is one of the first people to say, "Daddy." "Yes." "Why?" I'll go, "Don't know. It just seemed like a good idea at the time." And she go, "Okay." So I have my own feedback situation in my very own house, not even to mention my friends and colleagues and clients. But you have to realize that not everybody has the right answer. The ultimate right answer is you. It comes from you. Imagine after you've done a gig and people are criticizing you, we liked it, we didn't like it, and all. Human nature is built to be scared, to keep us safe. So if we're hunting in the desert, in a forest, right? So I've got a pen. This is my spear. It doesn't have a top in it. It's a very small spear because I'm hunting mice. So I'm walking along in the forest and I've got like my team with me. We're hunting mice, really small mice that are allergic to ink. So we're going like that and we're going to put them in an incubator. See what I did there? Incubator. I just added the ink to the pen idea. I thought it would be something that you'd find amusing. So anyway, we're going along with not the desert because the mice wouldn't see us. In the forest, looking for, we're not hunting mice, that's a ridiculous thing. Really small antelopes. That sounds cute. Beautiful. Okay, I'm expecting to get them with the poison ink. And I'm hunting bears. Okay? So before you start getting onto me and saying, "You know what, Dave, that's not fair," I know it's not fair. I'm hunting bears with a pen because I'm rock hard. So I'm going along, not rock hard, I'm just a ridiculous caveman. So I'm going along in the forest, I'm hunting bears, and I've got my team of stationary guys, all of us holding pens with poison ink, and we have to say, "Stop putting it in your mouth, don't put it in your mouth, don't put it in your mouth, don't put it in your mouth." Nobody put it in your mouth. Why? Because it's poison ink. Yeah, but I like chewing pens. If you chew this pen, it'll die. You'll die. You'll both die. You'll break the pen will be dead, and you'll have ink all over your face, and you'll do that usual thing where you'll, "Oh, let's clean it off, oh," and then you'll just die. So don't chew the pen. Can we have swords? No, you can't have swords. It's not been invented yet. Can we have spears? Why do you want a spear? What's wrong with the pen? Well, I'm just scared I'll die because of a bear being so massive. Yeah, I know the bear's massive, but the pen is mightier than the sword, mightier than the spear. Shakespeare said that. Did he? He's not been invented yet. Are you sure it's Shakespeare? I don't know if it's Shakespeare. It's one of his characters, I think, said it. But it's not true, is it? Can we have a gun? You can't have guns. Why? They're not going to be invented for about 1,000 years. And they're not even going to be efficient until about another 1,000 years after that, because the thing is going to have to do it so you can load more than one bullet. Otherwise, it's one of those things where you just load it like that, and if you miss, your bear's going to get you. We get one shot each. And you can say, hold on, Mr. Bear. Hold on, Yogi. Let me just pack another bullet in here. And then you fire it at him. And he's not even going to be scared of the pen. What are you going to do? Put it on your hand and throw it? So anyway, going back to the forest. We're hunting with bigger spears, not with inking, proper spears. And as you're heading towards this bear that you're chasing, that you want to eat, you hear a noise from behind you. Now that's not your team, it's a bit further back. So does that mean that there's a bear after you? If you hear a noise from that side, that's where the tribe lives that are your friends. So maybe they're joining you, or maybe they're not. And if you hear a noise from that side, that's a hostile tribe. You try to go around them, so you didn't actually wake them up. But if it's coming from that side, maybe they know you're here and they're hunting you. So all the time, you're paying super attention to all the noises. You're only paying attention to the bear in front, but now you're listening to everything. Now, this is true for the way that the world works. It's built into our DNA to keep us safe. Now, let me explain why that matters in a modern society, because this is all about mindset. First of all, if you go to an event, a party, or well, in the days when we used to have events, supposing you went along, you're wearing a brand new suit or a brand new dress if you're a girl, or if you're a guy wearing a dress, you might get a few complaints, and that will still fit in with this story. You go in there, and 100 people at the event, and one turns around and looks at it and goes, ugh, looks terrible, but everybody else turns around and says it looks wonderful. 99 say you look great, one says you look rotten. Here's your question. I asked you a lot of questions today. Didn't mean to. Question is, what do you remember? Do you remember the 99 people who said you look great, or the one person who said you look like a fool and your beard doesn't match the taffeta on your dress? The 1%, isn't it? The 1%. Why is that? We're built to remember danger. It's built into our DNA to remember danger, because that might keep us safe. That ignoring everything but the danger point might keep us safe. But in today's world, it depresses us, and we only think about that. So let's put that into a different question. In the corporate world, if you're an entrepreneur, right? As I am an entrepreneur, run my own business, do my own thing, decide what I'm going to do. If I go into a room with 100 people in and say, I've got a brilliant idea, I'm going to train you to be an industry expert, you can come out of here working with me and suddenly be positioned as one of the celebrities in your industry, and people will just throw money at you. How does that sound? And out of the 100 people in the room, 99 say, I'm not interested, but one says, this is brilliant, it's exactly what I'm looking for, I want to work with you, Dave. What is that? Is that a yes or a no from that meeting with the people in the room? You can answer here, just answer. Yes or no? Yes? No? What do you say? It's a yes, isn't it? It's a yes, very simply. I got a yes from the people. Most of them said no, but that's not, I was only looking for one person or a couple of people to say yes. Now take it into a corporate world. Same thing, I go in to talk to corporate organization about getting something done, and I work for the same organization, say. So there's 100 people in a boardroom meeting. It's a really big boardroom. So it's a town hall meeting. We're all there. I've got a really good idea. I throw it at the room and say, right, this is what we're going to do, but I want to debate it. See what you think. 99 people say yes. One person says no. What is that? A yes or a no? Answers coming. Come on. Yes or a no? It's a no. In the corporate environment, one person saying no is a no. Why is that? Because in a corporate world, depending as well who that person is, generally what happens is when somebody says no, they say, well, the reason for no is because it's not quite right. Can we change this and change that? And then when we change this and change that, it will start working better, and then I would support it. And once they say that, people go, you know what, they got a point. Maybe you should change that. Change that and come back to us, and then we'll go with it. So you go away, you change it, you come back, and by that time the competition's caught up, and they've got one out in the market, and you're playing catch up as a second person, and so on and so forth. And you have experienced this, or even worse, you're so disheartened by that response, you don't even bother going back. You just leave it there, and it sits on the shelf, and you feel, you know what, that was a great idea, nobody wants it, so I'm just not going to bother. Even though they did want it, but not enough for you to get the 100% yes that you needed to buy in from the boardroom, big boardroom. And nobody's got any hair, so it's a bald ballroom. We have a dance, bald, bald, ballroom. on boards, surfboards. So intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic is you need to be motivated, I almost said a bad word, by people outside of you, by things outside of you to stimulate you. And intrinsic means you've got this own timer, this own ticker going on in your head that says, I don't really care what people think. I do care, but I don't care enough to stop me being on my journey. And that's what we're concentrating on today. Today is all about getting your mindset right for that. In today's show, we've got a ton of different really cool things, and I'll share them with you in a minute on Speak on Stage. So if you just join me, I'm just telling you about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation and how to get your mindset right, because most people don't get it right. Do you know that? I mean, if I asked you another question, I'm asking a lot of questions today. What percentage of people actually practice personal development? What percentage do you think it is? Put it in here. Out of 100, that's what a percentage is. How many people think that it's a massive amount are into it now? You know, I've got to get better, I've got to change my life, I've got to learn about stuff. Keep coming. I'll tell you the answer in a moment. Before we go to that, I'm going to tell you that before we do that, I'm going to tell you that we will be having a look at how you can get incredible charisma, how you can boost your charisma with such really cool signs that you can learn to manipulate to prove that you have a better relationship with people and increase your relationship with people. Makes you more influential, more persuasive, and also persuasive, which is a whole new topic. Robert Cialdini, you should check it out. It's one of his books, brilliant, Persuasion. I'll tell you about that another time. So that's kind of cool. We'll also be looking at how to have a kick-ass positive mindset, the things you must stop and the things you must start. And on top of that, we've got some really cool videos. They're going to be coming up next to share with you. So I did ask you earlier, how many people do you think out of 100 are into personal development? And the answer is about 3 to 5%. 3 to 5% of people are into personal development. I think that number may have changed now that we've got gadgets and people are sending motivational stuff to each other. That doesn't mean that people are into motivation. It just means that they may have seen a couple of motivational videos. They don't take charge of themselves and say, I will make myself better. They just go, well, you know, the world's kind of like that. And so we'll just deal with it as it comes. Huge difference, huge problem. Because the moment you decide, I'm going to do something about it, then you start asking better questions. And then when you start asking better questions, the better the opportunity that you can do something that's really effective. With me so far? Right, we're broadcasting out to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Facebook, to Periscope and Twitter, and we'll put some stuff on Instagram as well. We love your thoughts wherever you are. Make sure you say hi. Give me your comments. I always comment back anyway, and it's a pleasure having you here on Speak on Stage. So there's some things all about intrinsic motivation or what makes your mind tick, really worth adopting. And that video, normally I like to have videos that have like pictures and activities going on, because I know you get really bored and you just go, I don't want to watch this anymore. Could you show me pictures and sound more interesting, please? But that one specifically is a short one that really sort of hit home with the stuff you need to remember. The next video I'm going to share with you, I think is brilliant. It really also reinforces the stuff I was talking about how you really don't need to worry too much about rest of the world is thinking, because it matters about you on your personal life, on your personal journey. Remember, today's episode is all about how to have a kick-ass mindset so you really can take yourself into any situation. And as I mentioned before, the reason we're having this is not just because I want you to make more of that, I want you to have less stress. And yes, living in Dubai, everybody gets a solid gold stress toy that smells like strawberry shortcake. That's really nice. And Dubai is like the equivalent of Wakanda in the Arab world. There you go, it's Black Panther. There you go, wonderful. Very cool. Sorry, I just like sniffing it, it's kind of cool. I'm not playing that because it just smells nice and I like pressing that button. Okay, so we're talking about your mindset, we're talking about your motivation, and we're talking about the ways you can actually deal with trouble and strife and challenges that come to you. And while we're in lockdown, the biggest challenge for everybody is we have no reference point for being in a situation before. I mean, with recessions, yeah, you can deal with it, you reinvent your business and so on. But normally you're able to go out and meet people and chat. We've just been planning my daughter's 9th birthday party. And the challenge is, as we're planning, 10th birthday, she's 9 now. As we're planning it for Maya, we wanted to take everybody out for a little adventure time. But that doesn't mean necessarily that we can do it effectively with social distancing. So we're going to have to rethink exactly what we're going to have. Are we just going to go for a little meal? Or maybe just have a Zoom party? These are the things that you really have to think about now. We've never had to deal with. Now, you don't have to think about the party. I do, as dad and mum. I'm not mum, but mum are there, who you never see. And she does exist. Aziza does exist. You can Google her. She's gorgeous. She's funny. But she doesn't like to be in the limelight. So she's got 100% kick-ass mindset, but it's my ass that she's kicking. So you have to think about a different world now and have different values and different ways of coping with everything, which makes it really good as an opportunity, but also makes it really daunting because there is no set precedent of how to deal with this before. I almost said set president. Fat president. Right then, how to deal with stuff. That's up next on Speak on Stage.
Blink, blink, blink. My cursor pulsed on the blank page. I wrote a sentence and then deleted every word. I stood up 6 times for coffee in 2 hours. Surprisingly, my page would still be blank when I returned. I wanted to start a blog. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to change the world. But all those things invite ridicule. I had a fear of being ridiculed. So I sat safely in the corner, dumping ideas into my hard drive, where they collected dust. One day, a friend of mine told me something which changed my perspective forever. He said this: "Nobody cares what you are doing." Far from being depressing, this was the most liberating thing I ever discovered. Obscurity is not a problem. It's an opportunity. It allows you to lay the first brick in your idea without a judging panel. Then you might find the confidence to lay another, and then another. Safe in your shroud of being a nobody, you have full reign to take whatever type of material you like and build whatever type of legacy you want. Eventually, you will fail in front of somebody. It might hurt a little. It might hurt a lot. When the raw emotions fade, though, you'll look around and realize something. You are still alive. Yesterday, I got a letter from a publisher which began, "Dear author, it hurt a lot, but I am still alive. Oh, and as a reminder, thought does not conquer fear. Plans do not conquer fear. Ideas do not conquer fear. Encouragement does not conquer fear. Friends do not conquer fear. Action conquers fear. As a matter of fact, it may be the only thing that does.
Interesting, isn't it? Nobody cares what you are doing, and it's so true. When I started doing this show, a handful of friends went, "Oh, okay, fine, nobody cares." But didn't say that to me. They were kind of encouraging, but it's just true. If you didn't like the show, you wouldn't be watching it. If you get bored of it, you'll disappear. And does that mean it's a direct reflection on me? I don't care. There will be people who will take your place, or people who will join you, who will carry on watching. As long as I do what I do, which is come up with really good content, make it relatively engaging and amusing, and then, ka-ching, teach you ways of making money, which is ultimately what life is not all about. Making ways of making you happy is, but you also have to pay bills. Especially right now, if you're having a challenge of doing it, then let me help you as much as possible. Watch this show every day. Share it with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe and connect with me on all platforms. On LinkedIn, make sure that you're either following me or connecting with me directly. Send me a message if you want to make sure that I do add you. If you just add me, I don't know who you are, then I probably won't. But you can still follow and connect, and you'll find out when I'm broadcasting. On Facebook, same thing, put a message. Excuse me. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. That's Rule Britannia, by the way. It's a British song that says Rule Britannia. I don't know the rest of it. That's why I just did a da-da-das. But I'm sure if you Google it, you get the Rule Britannia. Britannia rules the way. We will never, never, never can be saved. No, that can be I don't know what it is, but right now probably saved is about right. There's some challenges going on. All right, so going back to what I was talking about before, which I have no idea what it was, but it's kind of important at the same time. We're talking about how it's important to reinvent yourself and how it's important to find out who you really are, regardless of what people think about you. If you don't have that, you can't convince anybody to buy into you unless you're actually convinced that buying into yourself is important. Now, I love your feedback, as always. Make sure you connect with me on the different platforms, as I was saying earlier. But give me your feedback, because I'd love to know if this is helping you and what areas you'd like me to discuss for you in the future as well. I'll get loads of questions. And what I may do in the future is just do a Q&A session. Take callers or take questions and just answer everything as a special Speak on Stage clinic for you. If that would interest you, then let me know and I'll work out for you. So if you are stuck and you're saying, Dave, that's easy for you. You've done all these shows. Look, I've been on stage when microphones don't work. That's common. Or when the generators go down. Or where I've been singing and I couldn't hear a thing I was saying. I went on stage at Rugby Sevens a couple of years ago. And I sang with a brilliant singer called Simone Cooper. I sang Summer Nights, which should be one of the easiest pub songs to sing as an ex-DJ, but not so easy if you've got your ears covered and you can't hear it, and also if you forgot the words, because you've never ever had to worry about getting all the words right. And you were a brilliant singer who gets everything right, and you haven't got an earpiece in, you just got a microphone, so you can't hear the echo all around the studio. All around the stadium. You've got 40,000 people going, this isn't great. You got somebody singing with you going, yeah, you're not great. And you think to yourself, I'm not great. Do you want something even weirder than that, the Rugby Sevens story? Right, here's one for you. I was told, and I was hosting Dubai Rugby Sevens. It was this year, I was in a fancy dress, and that day I was dressed as Batman. So Batman, I'm a big Batman fan. Didn't look a bit like Batman, but I've got the ears like that. So not my hands, anyway. So I'm out in the middle of a pitch, and I'm talking in a headset to the DJ. And he says, Dave, you've got eight minutes to fill before the next game starts. What are you going to do? So I'm out there in the middle of the field. Right, I can look around, I can see 45,000 people all ready for a party. So I said, give me two things. Give me Wonderwall and give me Angels by Robbie Williams. So I've got the microphone and I'm very good at selling a song. Not great at singing a song, but selling a song. I can do a cheerleading bit. So they start firing in the music. Everyone's staring at me. I'm working up the audience. Now here's the problem. First of all, it's a super hot day. So the rubber mask I've got is congealing around my face. I can't hear a thing. I can't hear the words coming through from a song because even though it's really loud, these ears and the rubber thing are all over me. So I just hear an echo. You know when you get a cup and you hold it to your ear and you can hear the sea? Just hear that type noise. That's all I'm hearing, apart from the sound of my own voice. In fact, the sound of my own voice hasn't got bass in it, so I'm talking like that into my own microphone through. Anyway, so I'm singing the song badly. I can't hear anything. My head is sweating. I didn't realize in the middle of summer just how hot it can be wearing a rubber outfit. On stage, not if you're doing something in your privacy, dressed in a rubber outfit. That's between you and your paymaster. I'm not going there. So my choices are carry on singing because the audience is joining in and it's working, or breathe by taking the mask off and going, and then doing it. Now, that should be your first option, shouldn't it? The important thing is to get the audience working, get them going. But here's the challenge for that one particular time. I'm dressed as Batman. Does Batman ever take his mask off in public? No. For every child in that audience, of which is probably about 10,000 kids, I'm on a big screen. Now, if I can handle that Batman is a black guy, but has he got dreadlocks? I think it was not particularly perfect for the Batman brand and would be a lot of explaining for parents for the next 20 years to come. So I decided to stay Batman, stay in character, big cloak, big ears, big microphone, not like Batman has a microphone. I wasn't even going, I'm Batman. I wasn't even doing that. I was just being me. I kept it on for the 8 or so minutes until the songs had finished, and then I came off the pitch. Then went privately and ripped the mask off and able to breathe. So there are times when you will find, what should I do? And you do the thing that's best for the bigger picture and not just for you. This is a true story, especially if you want to get paid. So let's talk about the things that you need to do. Game-changing charisma and how you make this happen. This is from Forbes magazine, and I find it fascinating, really interesting. I hope you do as well. Love your feedback, by the way. It's a pleasure to have you with me on Speak on Stage. Make sure you give your comments. Press like or any of the other things that pop up when I say something that really sort of resonates with you as well, because that helps people find it. And feel free to share this. Any of the content I have, feel free to share with anybody that can benefit from it and make more money as a direct result of the stuff I'm sharing. Okay, signs you've got natural born charisma. Let's start with the first thing here. And that is number one, you've got presence when you enter a room. There's a certain way of carrying yourself, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to walk it with like, you know, woohoo, a flag, or walk in and go, I'm here. There's a way you can walk in so you get everybody to notice you've walked in. And it's not necessarily inbuilt, you can master it. If you look at the best actors of all time, and you look at them doing a cameo in a very early film, when like a black and white film, or when they just had a little bit part in it, you can't take your eyes off them. You go, is that Robert De Niro? Or is that Al Pacino? Or is that, I don't know, Brandon Cooper? Or is it Bradley Cooper? Or any of those actors. There's certain ones that you just go, oh my goodness, that guy is brilliant. Tell you had that, Chadwick Boseman. Everything he was in, he was electrifying, sometimes by not doing anything, just having this real gravitas that made you think the king's in the room, even if it wasn't about royalty. There's something about him that's just really spectacular. Now, great actors have this, pop stars have it, people like Madonna and so on have this star quality. Doesn't matter where they are. If they were out at a business meeting, you wouldn't be able to take your eyes off them, not just saying, that's Madonna, but you just know there's something special about that person. So it's a real thing. You can learn it. We won't tell you how to do it. We'll do that in a future show. You can actually look up, there's a really good website called Charisma on Command, and a lot of the videos from that about how big stars make it and make it work are available on YouTube. I share a ton of stuff that overlaps with that, and I'll share it with you in the show. But it's really interesting if you want to know how to boost your charisma. All right, number two is this one. You're able to influence people. Now, influencing people is not just about saying, do it this way. It's the fact that people buy into what you say because you've got a really good track record and you're really persuasive. So your ability to influence people is kind of important. Hopefully, through doing this show day after day, I've convinced you that I know what I'm talking about with speaking. I've convinced you that it's an engaging enough show to spend time with. I've convinced you that you will make lots of money as a direct result of being here. And also, if you work with me on the Industry Icon program, you will become even more successful in your brand. And a ton of other things that come through by influencing and doing certain things in a certain way. I'll tell you in a section later on in today's show what you should stop doing and what you should improve to get your mindset right. But right now, this is about what you need to do if you want to be seen as having charisma. Number 3, you know how to lead a group. Now, these are all tricks. These are all things that you can learn. You don't have to be born with leadership. In fact, I don't know anybody who's born with leadership skills. But you do certain things a certain way, sometimes just being louder than everybody else. Sometimes when it's in quiet moments, you take your time and answer. I was reading a really interesting article the other day about some of the biggest hitters, people like Steve Jobs, people like Elon Musk, people like Tim Scott. These guys who are all at the top of the food chain in their own industry, Jeff Bezos, sometimes don't answer a single question for about 20 seconds, which is really frustrating when we're on a conference call. Sometimes they leave it for longer. They're actually saying that people like Jeff Bezos can leave it 30 minutes before he answers a question. So he's got all these different people, maybe on Zoom or whatever Amazon use, and they're asking him a question, and he just goes quiet. Then he starts looking for his notes. And then he comes back to him 30 minutes later. Now that's power. And he doesn't just throw out an answer hoping it's going to work. He's deliberately working out what the answer should be. Do you remember that one with Justin Trudeau, the decision maker from Canada, President of Canada, Prime Minister of Canada, who was asked about going to a meeting with Trump, and he took ages to answer, but then he came out with an answer that was actually quite good. And people say, "Oh, hesitation." No, not hesitation. It's just getting it right. There's so many politics and the elements involved with the ramifications of what you're saying and the impact that could have for Canada and America and trade and so on. Don't just blurt it all out. So leading a group is kind of important. So there's lots of things about leadership. I'm not going to spend too long on it today, but I will do many sessions and days on leadership and how speaking can really improve your relationship with your team or even create a tribe around you. Number 4, you make people feel comfortable. This is a key. Being humble makes a big difference for that, but also being transparent and honest. You are the cheerleader. A servant leader now is there to serve his community and his team. It's not about being the boss and micromanaging everybody and treating them all like muck. It's about being one of the team and helping everybody and making them feel empowered so they go out and work really hard. A good boss shouldn't be working that hard on actually working. You should have people, she should have people better than her working on that stuff. Her job is to then make sure that she's got all the facilities laid out for them to be able to do their job properly. You should be hiring people better than you at doing the stuff that you do. If you're not doing that, then how do you think you're going to be able to grow and multiply if you're not recruiting better than you? It's true. Right, number 5 is this one. As I drink coffee out of a Union Jack mug. It says, do that. Union flag mug. And then you make money. Ka-ching! All right, and gold bars from Dubai. Make sure, if you want one of these, by the way, then just send me a message saying, Dave, I'd like a gold bar from Dubai, and I'll say good luck. Go to Amazon, find it yourself. Number 5, you smile at people often. Now, this is an interesting one. You smile at people. Is that saying you're confident, or does that mean creepy? So if I smile at you and go, you're thinking, who the hell are you? If I smile at you and go, you're thinking, who the hell are you? How can I call the police? The smile's got to be that Mona Lisa smile. It exudes confidence, but it also means I want to get to know you. Have you ever been to an event where everyone else is really straight like that, and somebody smiles and nods at you, and you go, oh, goodness me, a friendly face, fantastic. And you wonder whether you know them or not. Well, the more you smile at people, the more you make people feel welcome, the more they want to work with you. And sometimes that ability to smile and motivate people can be all that you need. When I did the Rugby Sevens, I don't know why I'm talking about so much today's show. Rugby Sevens, I had more or less the same team for 20 years. And we became so close to each other that we didn't have to look at each other sometimes. We just knew where the other person would be and what they would do in that situation. When I said I was going to go down the field to Kev Scorer knew I've got about 30 seconds to a minute to be able to carry on talking, then throw it to Dave. Dave will be in the center of the pitch, ready to run on in 30 to 60 seconds. I'll just check to see if he's there. Right, he's there. Bang. There you go. Didn't need to talk about it. Didn't need to cue it up. Didn't need to do anything at all. Same with the DJ. Same with the other commentators and all the other pitches. The same thing. Why? Because we all knew that we could trust each other and we had a great relationship with each other. That's kind of key when you're going to do this more effectively. Okay, so that was number 5, which was you smile at people often, and IQs and body language are big. Okay, and number 6, is you can get along with anyone. Now let me explain this. This used to be what Dale Carnegie's area of expertise was, how to win friends and influence people. There's now a digital version of that, how to do it on a digital thing. And I teach people digital stagecraft as well as part of the Industry Icon program, because the game has changed so much. Because one of the things is, if you're speaking to people and you're doing it in front of a live audience, you can tell whether it's working or not, because happy people watching you do this. And if they hate you, they do this. And if they love you, they do this. And if they want to lynch you, they do this. If they're not happy, they tend to be on their phone or they leave. But what do you do when you're broadcasting? What do you do when you're doing a Zoom call if you can't see everybody or you're the keynote speaker? The amount of conferences that I've attended or been on where you look at the speakers coming on and you see the numbers going right down and the speaker hasn't realized it because they're too busy faffing about or boring people. You've got to be engaging. You've got to get people to want to play with you. You've got to do that if you want to be on the money. And you've got to make sure whatever you do, people are interested in. That's a bit loud, isn't it? So you've got to make sure that you know what you're talking about. If you don't do it properly online more than ever, then you're going to lose people. And you've got a potential audience of 7 billion people who could be there. So many conferences don't work. So many conferences are the reason, virtual conferences are the reason why events managers are desperate to get rooms full of people again, because the speakers that they have are not strong enough to hold an audience. It's different if you go on stage with a big boring PowerPoint and start talking to people at the event. You can be boring then. People don't leave. They're already there. They paid money to be there. They don't want to lose their seats. At the worst, they might go for a coffee or disappear into their own head thinking about what we're going to have for dinner. But generally, they'll stay in the room. Online, they don't. In lockdown, people just disappear like that. Why? Because everyone's got better options and better things to do. So you really need to make sure that when you do speak online, you actually know how to engage people. And you've got to treat it like a TV presenter would do. Does that make sense? Does that say a lot to you about where you should be and what you should do? Wonderful. And I hope those points were good for you as well. I love them. All about how to drive charisma. 6 really good points. You can check them all up by Googling, by the way. If you Google 6 signs, you got natural born, game-changing charisma, and put Forbes next to it, then you'll be able to read the full article there. And then you wouldn't need me, would you? But until then, you do. So there. It's Speak on Stage. Wow, that was slow and boring, wasn't it? Anyway, not to worry, back again. I love your thoughts and comments as always. Please like everything that you like and share it with people. And comment, let me know that the stuff we're talking about is of use to you, because I need to know that as well. Today's session, by the way, is all about this, in case you haven't noticed it. About how to drink coffee when you've put a PDF up and people can't see your face. That's what it's called. And that's why I put that there. Okay, no. It's about how to have a kick-ass mindset. And yes, I did say bottom. And I did it deliberately because I don't like mess about with this. You don't know me that well, but you hopefully know me well enough from having... This is actually my 39th show. It'll be my 40th show tomorrow. I do it every single day. So, you know that I give consistency, you know that I give great ideas, and you know that I want to make you lots of money by teaching you how to be successful. Now, the thing that comes from all this, ultimately, is where does it all come from for me? How did I do this? How do I teach you how to do this? Well, it's very important to me to get you to be better than you were before. And I think having an attitude about it is really important as well. I do have an attitude, I'm aware of that. I do realize that the stuff I share, some people would say, oh, don't do it. You know, be conservative, chill out, just let things go. But I don't think you should do. Oh, it's got music on this. Have you heard this? It's nice. Can I turn it up a bit? I don't know. Can I turn it up? Wait. Oh, it's gone. Where's the music gone? See? I've added music all the time, improving. There you go. A little bit loud, not too much, but it's nice. Okay, so here's the thing. When you're creating success for yourself and you're moving forward and you want to make life better for people and making life better for yourself, you've got to drive it, because nobody else is going to drive it for you. If you don't have an attitude believing that whatever you have is better for people than they were before, then it doesn't work. That's why the attitude of gratitude that we talk about and happiness is such an important metric. If you're happy with the world, you exude happiness to other people, and they notice it and they pick up on it. It's true. When you walk into a room and you're full of joy and happiness and confidence, and you're thinking the world owes me, but I'm happy to help the world at the same time, people notice that on you. Subconsciously, it affects people. So in order to have a really effective mindset, you've got to think differently about all these different things. I just want to put this music on again. Okay, so how do you have a 100% kick-ass mindset? Well, first of all, there's 5 things you've got to stop doing. First thing is this. Stop doing what you're told by people who think that they know you better than you do. They don't know you better than you. My wife says she does, my mum says she does, my daughter says she does. But here's the thing. What you have to do is take all the criticisms that people have of you, put it into a bag, shake it, take out the stuff that's going to move you forward. When people say to you something like, you know what, I don't think you can do that, what they're saying is they couldn't do it, not you couldn't do it. So be very careful about that distinction. Do they mean that you couldn't do it? Have they got your best interest at heart? Sometimes they have, but sometimes it's wrong. And if you don't get out of your comfort zone and do stuff that's really difficult, how will you know that you're ever going to grow? I've had so many situations in the past where I've been challenged to do stuff. And I do it all the time. As soon as I started doing the show, I challenged myself, and I talked about it. If you've been there from the very early shows, I talked about, well, maybe what I should do is I should take weekends off. That'll make life much easier. If I take weekends off, then that means I can prepare my stuff. And I thought, no, that's too easy. Why don't you do it every day so you can come up with new content every day? And does that mean you've got to work even harder than everybody? Yeah, it does mean. But does that mean that you can actually do it? Yeah, it does mean you can actually do it as well. So that's my challenge. I'll push myself. And you've got to find challenges and comfort zones to push yourself out of it too. All right, number 2, stop watching the news unless you're actually on the news. If you're being featured on the news, you should check it. It's part of your validation and also part of your business model. But if you're not in it, pay attention to the news only as far as the things that you need to know about. The news works because it's depressing. Do you remember what I said to you about danger, about the 99 to 1%? News works on that. News tells you all about bad news. And you're saying to me, Dave, that's not true. I worked for the BBC for a number of years. I worked in broadcasting for off and on about 15 years. I've got a postgraduate diploma in radio journalism. So I'm a news guy by trade. And I know that if you talk about the news, people are going, oh my goodness, how's that going to affect me? Now, in a pandemic where people have emotional challenges, as we have right now, one of the worst things you can do is absorb yourself in the news. Check in every now and again, check on what's going on, that really matters. I actually took a detox from the news for 20 years. For 20 years, I stopped watching the news. I have no idea what happened in those 20 years. I didn't follow the elections. Didn't know what happened in the UK. Didn't know what happened in Dubai, apart from what people would tell me. And you know what? I've got a pretty good idea of all the things that really mattered. Because my life is great. I'm not saying my life is great because it's more important than yours or better than yours. No, it's not. But my life is full of, in fact, I love broadcasting and sharing time with you. I love my family. My family loves me. My business is growing really well. And I find every day I don't do things I don't want to do. So why would I let the news tell me something that depresses me, makes me feel rotten, about something that's not actually going to have any impact on me? Coronavirus, yeah, okay, I need to know about that, but I'm not going out of the house very often. And I'm very careful, and most of my clients are all around the world, and I Zoom them when I coach them. And when I do speaking events, I do them like this. So why should I be so worried about what people are going to think or what's going on in the world? See? So make the world around you, make it U-shaped, fill the stuff that you really want, and stop paying attention to the news. Number 3, stop social mediaing. Stop going on social media. If you're just validating yourself, then don't do it. Putting things out there so people say, you're great, we love you, it's fantastic. Do it for a little bit of vanity, then drop it. Otherwise it becomes like a drug. And it's designed to be like that. It's designed to have little explosions in your head of making you feel fantastic when people turn around and say nice things about you. Little dopamine injections that are given to you by likes and shares and comments. So you keep checking to see if somebody's liked it more, or somebody's commented more, and somebody's shared it with somebody. Woohoo! And it's designed because it lights up your brain and makes you feel like you've got an injection of love. And it's not. It's designed to be like that. So don't go on social media unless you need to go on social media, and I know you're watching this. If you're being nosy, then that's fine. Have a look at what's going on around the world because it might be the only window you have to stuff. And also, have fun. If you go on social media, use it as part of your recreation. And do it to be you. But don't do it for any other reasons other than that. Number 4, stop wondering what you could have done differently in your life. Let me stop the music for this. Let me just phrase this again. Stop wondering what you could and would have done differently in your life. Could I have been better at doing this? If I could go back to the pandemic and somebody had said to me, right, you're going to spend 6 months indoors, what could I have done differently? The answer is nothing. You would have done exactly what you did with the knowledge that you had at that time. And it's true for everything that happened in your life. With a time machine, with hindsight, yes, maybe you could have done some stuff, but you don't have a time machine and you don't have hindsight. At the right time and every time, you make the right decision based on what you know at that time, and you always have. So many people spend their time regretting, but what's the point? You can't change it, so just deal with it and trust yourself. Okay, number 6, stop asking losers for their broken or unproven opinions. Now that sounds quite rude, and I don't mean everyone's a loser, but what I do mean is people don't know you as well as you do. And also, the rule of 7, according to Tony Robbins, the rule of 5, according to Jim Rome, says that the people that are closest to you, either the 5 closest people or the 7 closest people, you'll be the average of what they have from their lives. The average of their happiness, average of their money, average of their relationships, because they're the ones that advise you. So if all your friends have broken relationships, no money, and they're always losing their job, guess what you're going to end up getting? Same thing. Why? Because that's the atmosphere they create, and that's the advice they're going to give you. So stop hanging around with people like that. Now, I know it sounds terrible to say that. Can you do that with your family, Dave? Well, yeah, you can do. What about your friends? Yeah, you can do. And maybe you should do. I'm not saying it to be horrible. I promise you I'm not saying it to be horrible. But you get one go at this life. If you've got a partner, or you've got a friend, or somebody who always brings you down and makes you feel negative, maybe it's time to change that. The amount of people going through divorce as a direct result of the quarantine because they found out the person they're with is somebody they don't really like. Now, I'm not saying you should divorce or you could split or any of that. All I'm saying is you don't have to put up with people's crap either. So, those are 5 things that you need to certainly get rid of. Let's look now at 5 things you really should consider starting to make yourself more efficient in what you do. Alright, number 6, start accepting responsibility for your life. You are in charge of everything. Nobody else is. If you have a good day or a bad day or a good life or a bad life, who are you going to blame for it? Nobody else. You're the CEO of your own life starting today. Number 7, I love your feedback, by the way. These I've studied for very, very many years. As a motivational speaker, traveling around the world, working with all the biggest corporations, speaking in front of millions of people, these are the basics that I have, that I share with people and do it with all my clients. Because if you don't think like this, you're going to spend all your life being a victim. And who wants to be a victim? Life's too short. Who wants to end up dealing with everybody else's crap and going, you know what, maybe that's what life is like? What are you going to do? Wait until you're 70, 80, and then you go, oh, it didn't have to be like that. We get to live to about 100 if we do it right. If you're a generation alpha and you're under the age of 10, you'll probably live to 110, 120 anyway, because science and nanotechnology and 3D printing will allow you to be able to live as long as you want to. We get to be 80, 90, 100. My mum turned 80 a couple of days ago. Yeah, happy birthday, Mum. I can mention it now because it's gone. But that tells me about how long I should consider. And at the age of 52, I look at it and I go, okay, at the very least, I've got 28 years left. And I'm not going to waste a single second of them in regret or whining or worried about what people think of me. So I'm going to take responsibility and do something with it, and so should you. All right, number 7, start making risky choices so you can live life a little. Now, when I say risky choices, I don't mean you should go out and not wear a mask and interact with people who could hurt you. That's not smart. That's stupid. Social distancing right now is going to keep you alive. But what I do mean is invest in stuff that's really going to help you in your business. If you're going, ooh, and thinking about it, well, maybe you should stop doing that and just do it. Because you can burn a hole in your brain by going, regret, ooh, regret. Become your best cheerleader. Instead of saying, what if it all goes wrong? Say the opposite. What if it all goes right? What could happen to me if I take that chance, make that risk? One of my dearest friends is like my brother, Darish Saudi, who's a really successful businessman, multi-millionaire, made millions, lost millions, and does it on the drop of a hat. Real genius in music. The advice he gave to me some time ago is take more risks. You're too careful, you're too calculated, just go with it. Sometimes you just got to go with it. And that's the difference between the big guys and the little guys. Every single millionaire that you know, every single billionaire that you know, and you might not know them, but you certainly know the names, they lose money all the time. And it's part of the game. But they also know how to make it, so they bring it back up again. Whereas everybody else who holds on to it doesn't take that risk. Let me show you something. Glass of water, half full or half empty. You make your decision. Is this glass of water half full or half empty? Some people say half full, some say half empty. Now, that same glass of water, I always see it as full with more opportunities to top it up. If you leave that glass there, and I just left it on the side, would it go stale? Yes, in about a day, maybe 2 days, it would go stale. But if you get that water and you pour it into a river, it will circulate and stay fresh forever. Long people don't poop in the water too often. Or chuck plastic bags in and bottles. You know the point I'm making. The point is, the more you circulate it, the more energy you create with stuff, and the more you take risks and get things moving, the better your life will be. Keep it going. Make the adventure a new episode every day, like the Truman Show. Number 8, start telling negative people to go away. I've already mentioned this about the friends and families that you have. If somebody starts whining to you, say goodbye. At the moment, I'm getting so many people requesting, Dave, can you come and talk at our event? Yes, I'd love to talk to you at your event. How much are you going to pay me? Oh, we're not paying anybody. Well, why should I do it? Because we thought you would. Really? So you can tell the landlord that to you? You can tell the school fees that? You can tell all the cars I've bought? Yeah? Is that how it works? I don't think so. And it doesn't work for you either. So when somebody comes in with a negativity, you turn around and you deal with it effectively. I'm not saying I won't speak at all these events. What I'm saying is anybody who brings in something negative in your life, you don't have to have it. You can give it straight back and let them take it somewhere else. Some people live a world of being negative. They just get high on bringing everybody down. And that's their call. Doesn't mean it have to be yours. All right, so going back to the list again then, looking up number 9, start living your own superhero origin story. It was no accident that I started with this. This is the idea, having a superhero origin story. The thing I loved most about dealing with Marvel superheroes, rather than looking at the ones that came out of DC, is the fact that all the Marvel superheroes had something wrong with them. When you looked at Tony Stark, he had an alcohol problem. When you look at Spider-Man, he had a challenge being a bullied teenager. When you look at the X-Men, that was born out of homophobia and racism. What if you've got lots of skills and everyone treats you like a subhuman or a subclass citizen because you're not the same as everybody else? That idea of having an origin story that you're living in as you build yourself up to where you truly need to be is really powerful. And last but not least, number 10, reframing yourself. Let me explain to you what reframing means. Imagine every day something happens that doesn't work for you. Reframe it, change it around, say what did work for me. So you go to work and somebody says something terrible to you, and you say, right, I feel terrible, I wish I'd not gone to work. But then you think about it and say, well, no, did they have a point in what they said? No, they didn't. Maybe not. Maybe they said something really spiteful. But if I hadn't been at work and I hadn't been told by them what had happened, maybe it would have got worse next time I saw them and turned into a proper fight. Maybe I'd need to be very careful about what I do. Let's take a different instance. Let's say you mess up with something. Okay, let's say that you walked across the road and almost get hit by a car. Terrible things that happen. You're all worried, all scared. How can you turn around with that? How can you turn around and look at something like that and flip it around and reframe it? Well, look at it. You could have been hit by the car. And then what would have happened? Or you might not have been paying attention to it and somebody else might have walked out and been killed. The very fact that you did pay attention, you went out and it stopped, tells you from now on, don't be distracted by your phone when you're walking across the road because you might not get another chance. Does that make sense to you? Well, today, here we are, 100% kick-ass theories and ideas for reinventing yourself. I hope these have been useful for you. Next up, I'm going to tell you what you can do to really boost yourself, to take yourself to the next level, and some really exciting stuff coming up in the future as well. So keep watching. It's Speak on Stage. So the Industry Icon program, I talk about it all the time. Why? Because it's your way of getting yourself positioned. Now, if you're already somebody who's an influencer, or you believe you should be an influencer, or you want people to recognize you better, there's never been a more important time than right now to be recognized by people for the job that you do and the things that you create. We've got a kind of reset button on the world right now. Let me explain to you, and I'll explain it in the way that I do this show. When I first started doing this show, Ernesto Verdugo and I did the Toilet Paper Diaries, and actually there's a brilliant review of that I'll be sharing with you in a future show. Maybe tomorrow, actually, about Toilet Paper Diaries. And we do a show every week, by the way. We started doing the show, and we realized that all the big stars, all the late night talk show hosts, who you couldn't get near, they're too famous, they're too funny, they're too well produced, they've got the best stars in the world, got a studio audience, they've got fantastic musicians in the audience. All those things make it impossible to get anywhere near them until they go into lockdown. And the lockdown had this effect. It was like putting a reset button on every single thing and every single person. What does that reset button do, Dave? Well, really what it does is it means that you start thinking about things differently. It means you start thinking, hold on, so there's a reset button. That means that they're going to have to work from home. It means that they're going to have to be in the same situation that we are, where you're actually just doing what you do with no audience around. And you watched them, Stephen Colbert, you watched, in fact, he's still there, Trevor Noah, and Seth Meyers and all these other guys. Great shows, but from their home. We started doing the Toilet Paper Diaries because we realized that we could be on the same level as them. Okay, we're not as famous, and we haven't got all the different resources they've got, but for the appearance and optics of being at home and just talking, we could do the same thing, and that's pretty much what we decided to do. That evolved into the growth of the Toilet Paper Diaries, and also evolved into me doing this show. I would probably never have got around to doing a live show like this every single day if I hadn't seen what happened to those guys. Now, they're still famous, and we still get millions of views, but I'm starting to get views now. I'm starting to get people who watch on a regular basis, who share ideas and communicate with me. And as a micro-influencer, it's important to be doing that kind of thing. And it positions me for my main business of training people to be great industry experts and industry icons, that people can see what I'm doing and say, can I have some of that as well? And I show them how to do it. So now's the best time ever in your own industry, when everyone's in lockdown and everything's in flux and things have come to a halt and nobody knows what to do. Now's the time to act and step up. I can't tell you this enough. You may already have seen that things are changing the way that they used to be. They're going back to how they were. And you may already have seen that people are saying, well, you know, I don't really want this, I don't really want that. But I wish it was the way it was before. It's never going to be the way it was. That's why you have to act. That's why you have to step up. Now, what I do is Speak on Stage. At the website, SpeakOnstage.com, you go along there, and there's a lot of modules that help you become a better speaker and go through all the different things. If you want to do a 10-minute consultancy with me for free about how you can boost your own position, become an industry expert, and get received by people as being the go-to person that they want to see speak, they want to connect to, and they want to have as a brand associated with their brand, then let me show you how to do that. It's called the Industry Icon Program, and it positions you really effectively. So contact me, go to SpeakOnstage.com, have a look at Speak on Stage, have a look around the site, and when you get there as well, make sure that you click on the Industry Icon link. From there, you'll be able to fill it in, give me your details, and then let's have a meeting. Right now I'm getting really busy, but I always have time to advise you. I don't work with everybody, by the way. Some people are saying, well, you're not ready for it. Some people are saying, you've got to do this and go do that first. And then when you have got it together, then we'll start talking about it. But everybody should position themselves in some way, shape or form as an industry icon, because you've never had a better time than now to start making that big difference. And that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, sharing lots of stuff. Today's show is all about this, how to give you a superhero mindset. And I hope with today's show I managed to share with you as many things as possible to get you thinking about how you can position yourself, how you can think about yourself, and take those massive opportunities to really do something special. I don't think we've ever had a time like right now. I really say this with complete clarity and honesty. I think right now you have a chance to be seen by everybody as being the very best. And all the other people who aren't as strong as you are also going through the same kind of mindset. Can you imagine how fast you can go up the food chain? When we went through a recession like this before, say 2008, I think it was, 2008, 2009, or the banks were crashing, everybody's going into some kind of financial lockdown, that's when Uber started. That's when WhatsApp started. That's where Airbnb started. That's when Instagram started. They saw a gap in the market, we got a small group of friends together, and we said, what can we do to make this important? What can we do to get this foot into the market? Even a market that didn't exist. Look at Uber. What was Uber before? The idea that you didn't have a taxi company, you had everybody being their own taxi if they wanted to, and you just took a commission and got them all together. The biggest taxi fleet on the planet, and you don't even own one car. Genius. So have a think about it. Now's your time for your idea to work. I'll teach you how to speak. I'll teach you how to brand. I'll teach you how to position yourself. And all you need to do is buy into the fact that you can be brilliant. All you need to do is start off with this. Believe that you can have 100% kick-ass mindset. Program your mind and say, this is what I want. And your mind will start saying, right, okay, I don't know how to get this, but maybe we start by watching Dave's show every day. And that's what you should do. Back tomorrow with some more great stuff. Hope you enjoyed today. I've really enjoyed your company. Thanks as always for your thoughts and your comments and your shares and your likes. And more than anything, have an amazing day and believe that this is your time. We've never had a time as important or as possible as we have right now. And I want to see you do the very best that you can. And I'm never going to say sorry for believing that you can be better. That's it from me. Enjoy. Speak on stage. I'm sorry. I didn't explain. I tried to motivate you and move you forward, but quite clearly all I brought you was pain. Tried to share some ideas and I didn't do enough to show you what I really meant, because it left you feeling confused, and afterwards your brain was spent. And I should have used smaller words, and I should have been more than enough, but somehow it ended up making you feel bad, and it was kind of tough, and you wanted to have me stop and go back again, and maybe you weren't paying attention, and then you feel like you've stayed at school and you've been naughty and you're in detention, and you want to get me sharing with you more stuff, and I gotta do more for you. And you don't want to pay for it because you know I could get this off the internet too. But my friend told me this, and they're into the same kind of stuff as you, but I don't see why I should pay or I should make the effort, because I want it to come in a bottle as well. And if I get it in a bottle, I get it in a pill form, I'll never have to do much work. But it doesn't work that way. None of it does. If you want to get something out of life, you've got to get off your ass and move. You've got to look around and see where you've come from. You've got to make a decision. Where are you going to go? And how do you think they get there? All those stars. How do you think they get there? All those people who turn around and say, I'm amazing, I'm a Kardashian, I'm on the front of a newspaper, I'm on the front of a website, I'm an influencer, I'm a celebrity, I'm super rich, I'm super powerful. Do you think they all got it for free? Well, some did. And some didn't. Some worked their asses off. And some still do. And some people wait. And some people complain. And we don't realize how easy it is. And that might be you. One day won't matter. We'll have no time left. And people will say to you, did it matter to you how hard you worked? How many people helped you? And the answer will be no. All that matters is, what did I get out of it? And the best way to judge is that smile you have right now, or that frown